Now, we're still talking about President Tinubu's national address. For more, I'm joined by Aliyu, Audy, who is a former member of the Presidential Transition Council Media Strategy Subcommittee. Aliyu, good to see you, and thanks for your time. Good evening. Many people have spoken about the president's speech, and that's what we're still looking at point by point. But again, what resonates for you and perhaps some of your constituents as a party man, what resonates for you in that speech?
I think it's the tone of the speech, is the fact that the president has reassured once again that he's in touch with reality. He knows what's going on. He knows how Nigerians feel, and he's put plans in place to douse the tension and have the average Nigerian actually believe that, he is here for them, then renew the hope of the average Nigerian. It's shown that the few weeks he's been there, he's been working on something. It's a plan that for me, if and when implemented effectively, can change a whole lot.
But again, before we get to implementation, he's also expressed his concerns, and some of which are some few individuals. And he seemed to know these persons. He called some of them the elite of the elite. He's also spoken about some few holding the majority, by the jugular. Speak to us, and I also asked Senator Itai how soon do we expect to see the president moving to get these people out of the way? And now let us in on what you think the president should do now that he's so identified these stumbling blocks to our economic success.
Okay, it's clear that the enemies of the state are not necessarily enemies of government. We don't like to say what we need to say, but if we really want to build a country, we all seem to know we have the potential to build, then we're going to have to look ourselves in the face and tell ourselves the bitter truth. I've sensed some sort of sympathy towards the former CBN governor. His detention, he's been tried, let them go with the law. But I'm telling you,
let's stay away from that for now, because since so it looks like they're still in court. But I want us to talk.
I agree.
More. Yes,
but now we have individuals in the past who have deliberately abused their offices, create problem in the economy, just to profit a certain few at the expense of the majority of the people.
And I asked Senator Itai, I said, but again, this also includes politicians.
Yes.
But it's always difficult when we say it includes politicians. The argument is so short and you just go, yes. But again, the politicians, known faces. Because if we need to fix the country, we need to start, getting to the real issues and the individuals who are actually the cause of what we're dealing with.
Suleiman, let me tell you something about how, when I personally came into the realization that whatever we have to do, we need to block the leakages, we need to stop the leakages. The global statistics states that 25,000 human beings die every day because they can't feed. Statistically, about 2,100 of these 25,000 are Nigerians.
2,000 of that figure?
Yes, are Nigerians, the vulnerable sectors. And now, when you look at the stages of starvation to death, it means about 14 to 21 days, you have no hope of what to eat. We can't continue to exist like a society that does not care about the vulnerable in our midst. No, but instead of the government to spend so much energy going after people who have amassed so much wealth that they can have the system in their pocket. I looked at the budget of EFCC at some point in the past, and it was about 300 million to prosecute. How do you use 300 million to prosecute people who have stolen 10 billions? They will buy you 10 times over. Let's be honest with ourselves. The former people who have stolen have no business. They don't do nothing to me by being locked up in Kirikiri or in Kuje. No.
You know, it becomes so difficult watching and listening to you, knowing full well that in all of this, your party, the APC, has been on the saddle for the past 8 years, and it's a continuation. So is it so difficult a thing for Nigerians to ask your party, what have you done since you knew of all this?
All right. If you understand, when the party was formed, the ideals were noble, were direct to what the country needs. I mean, we prided ourselves as the new party for a new Nigeria. I mean, this to say we understood where we were going, where we were and where we should be heading, and we're not heading in that direction. So we came with the slogan, change, right? But for the 8 years, I will admit that prior to the first 8 years, our perception of the challenges, our assessment of the challenges were pretty flawed. Then, of course, there was the excitement to, actually change a system that isn't working. In any case, as at the point we were looking for this change, what most Nigerians don't understand is the fact that anything was better than where we were, especially if we were betting on someone who has in his history of not taking advantage of the state. That was President Muhammadu Buhari. But getting there, a whole lot happened in the 8 years. Some, that could be blamed on the inefficiency or ineffectiveness of the last administration in certain areas, but most other were beyond our control. The last 8 years has been trouble upon trouble for even the best of the countries in this world. We see what's happening in France, in England. We know what the United States has been. These are states that have been run well for centuries. But last 10 years has been pretty rough.
Is it difficult for anyone to agree and say the President Buhari administration was incompetent in fixing our economy? He met the dollar. $100 was 150 naira, and when he left office, we saw what the naira had become. There are a lot of things people run away from, and we just have to face it. But again, as a party man, it might be very difficult and tough for you to put the blame on your party. But
no, it isn't. My loyalty is first to my country, Nigeria.
So the administration of President Buhari, when you put the blame on, when you say some people actually held the country, you agree. But again, for 8 years, he was unable to allow the country breathe.
Like I said, the way the last 8 years was managed wasn't the way we planned to manage it. I mean, one of the reasons I actually felt the need to let us know that at every point in time we must put our best foot forward. Let's forget sentiment. Let's forget emotions. What are the things? I mean, everybody can promise anything, but we should be able to look at your track record. We should be able to look at what you've done. You've had similar rules in the past. What did you do? Then based on what you did versus what you promised then, we can tell, if we should take this chance with you. With the first 8 years, yeah, there was dealing with, some of these challenges, getting used to it, and whether you like it or not, the government at the center is a different ball game. That's a fact.
Let's see if we can close on this, because your objective stance in looking at things is novel and commendable. But again, you have heard President Tinubu's speech, and how much of hope do you have in saying that what wasn't being able to get done in the last 8 years can be done at least in the first 4 years of this
As
administration?
hopeful as we have saved over ₦1 trillion in 2 months. At that rate, I mean, I assume it will grow as we move on, but even at that rate, it means that's 6 trillion in the next 12 months. That's a whole lot in terms of funding our budget. You know, I mean, he's wise enough to have put certain amount aside for infrastructural development, like, you know, to support states and to support local government. Our basic problem is we have cities filled with unemployed, underemployed people, while we have the rural areas where the production, especially agri and agro-allied industry should be, are empty because they are no longer attractive for people to live in. So if we do the roads in these villages, we bring electricity to these villages, we make life better for these villages. He has said in his promise he's going to have like farm centers where you have social center where farmers can make life worth living. So when they live there peacefully without the attraction to rush to the city, the job available there is what will feed the city. These are the things he is looking at, you know. And I mean, if we all join hands with him, irrespective of the divide you belong to, we all want the country to work. It's ours. If we join hands and ensure we have it done effectively, we'll be happy for it in the end.
I think that's a fine place to end this conversation. Aliyu, Audy, many thanks for speaking with us, and we're hopeful and hoping that you can come back again in the days to come to speak to us on the gains of the administration.